Hello and welcome back to Si Knows the Score, and today we have a bit of a fascinating video where your team, yes your team, can win the Premier League trophy no matter who it is out of the 20 teams in the league that you support. This video will be the key to how your team can go all the way to first place. Now, just a quick disclaimer before we do get into the video. Part of the terms and conditions here is that you cannot be offended by any of the sarcasm in this video, okay? Brilliant, now we've got out of the way, let's get into it. So first up, we have Sunderland. Lots of talented youngsters they do have now, and did do. So the Black Cat faithfuls will be meowing at the Stadium of Light, won't they? And Adam Johnson will be licking his lips at the sheer thought of seeing a team full of youngsters. Thankfully for Sunderland, they now have Xhaka ready to two-foot him at any given moment. Can Isidore be the Isak equivalent? Can he show that football isn't linear and do what Patrick Bamford did for Leeds? So, in the Championship, he scored 14 goals, and in the first season of the Prem, Bamford went to go score 17 and get an England cap. Can Isidore do the same thing? Well, potentially, and I mean, if they're going to go on and win the league, I would say it's absolutely necessary and compulsory, as I'm sure you all agree. But will the dream signing Xhaka and his leadership on and off the pitch turn the inexperienced into fearless world beaters who can take the Premier League by storm? These things will surely need to happen, along with some strong additions such as an assured keeper in net, with the well-respected Regis Lebris continuing his tactical flexibility shown in the Championship. Crystal Palace. What more needs to be said? They've just beat the reigning Premier League champions Liverpool in the Community Shield. Just keep the current squad. Therefore, no changes are required to starting 11, and maybe just a few more bodies after their unfortunate rejected appeal, which means they are going to have to be in the Conference League for the season. So yeah, but either way, added squad depth is definitely essential, and of course keep Eze and hopefully Guy as well. Otherwise, yeah, can't see it happening. Which then does bring us on to the current Premier League champions, Liverpool. Well, they've just lost to Crystal Palace, so some major surgeries needed to the squad between now and the end of the transfer window. I mean, to begin, they need a new centre-back, don't they, by getting rid of the ever-so-clumsy Virgil van Dijk, who gave away a needless penalty in a huge game for the massive trophy of the Community Shield. Of course, I am kidding, because that would probably lead to the dreams coming true of all the clubs below, wouldn't it? So, but yeah, so I do think, however, they do need a centre-back, and I believe they are now signing that youngster from Parma. I've forgotten his name, that 18-year-old. I'm not sure how good he is and whether he's a good replacement should any injuries or suspensions occur. But hey, Liverpool are confident, so I'm sure he's probably the right person. Especially because Canate is susceptible to injuries, and Gomez not the most reliable replacement too, especially because of his injuries. Now Kwanzaa has just gone to try save the captain, or maybe even the iceberg for the sinking ship, Erik ten Hag at Leverkusen. So yeah, and maybe a winger could be nice to replace Diaz. I mean, I know they've got Gakpo and Ekitike. It's just be nice to have that bit of flair, won't it, back out on the wing. So if you get those all coming in and happening, then it really does feels like to overturn them. It will take a whole lot, wouldn't it? And then we get on to the emotional rollercoaster. My unfortunate team, Leeds United. So yeah, so Farke may need an assistant so good he should be the manager. And that man is the one and only Jurgen Klopp. Head of global football. Sorry, not soccer, it is football. I don't mean to offend any Americans or anyone else that says soccer, but it is football. I mean, Red Bull themselves have invested in Leeds. So could Klopp be the Peter Taylor to Farke's Brian Clough? Or, on another spin, the Simon Pegg to Tom Cruise, with Klopp giving instructions through a little earpiece? I mean, failing that, we would need to make sure Farke gets his daily dose of Yorkshire tea to get the creative juices flowing, along with landing players like Peugeot, rather than going to Prison FC, known as Marseille, and Ellen Road to be the hostile place it was once known to be. And then we come on to another huge one-city club in Newcastle. So, first of all, they need to get Isak back on board, don't they? And upgrade on potential players. I mean, bringing Wissa in, okay, with the great respect, he's a good player, but he's not going to replace Isak, is he? Or the players that Newcastle were looking at early in the transfer window, with the likes of Sesko, Ekitike, etc. So, St James, it's going to be bouncing. We know it will be. Chants all around the stadium, fans jumping, and maybe if they jump all in unison, then maybe it can be enough to shake the ground, confusing referees into making dubious decisions. Perhaps the recent transfer rejections too, especially with some going to Liverpool, like Ekitike and Sesko going to, surprisingly, Man United. Obviously didn't care about Champions League football. Hopefully that can be enough to fuel motivation, turn them into the most motivated team in the Premier League, to help them get their way to the title and lift that crown. Which then leads onto my bold prediction, and a bit of a not really dark horse, but one for the season in Brighton. Definitely want to keep an eye out on. Last season they conceded 59 goals, so that definitely needs to change. We'll need to concede probably almost half of that to have a fighting chance of winning the league. So if you didn't know, as I just mentioned, they are my bold prediction to push on, and I do think that because of how they rebuild with the money ball, I do think that they might get it right this season, and rumour has it that they are going to try and push for a Champions League spot, so watch that space. But to begin, as mentioned, they do need to rebuild their backline, don't they? And then that will be enough to hopefully be a bit of a difference maker whilst keeping some players up top. Need to replace João Pedro, of course. And, the young Buck Hurtzler, does he need to adapt his style more to teams? Arguably so, but he had a great first season, didn't he? So if you can do what he did whilst maintaining the energy that they have up top, they may have had goals. Well, last season they had more goal scorers across the team than any other team in Division 2, so they'll have to maintain that as well. But yeah, I do think failing that, maybe they could quite literally, as they're known to seagulls, to train seagulls to swoop down and distract opponents mid-match whilst providing opposition fans with free fish and chips to cause mayhem in the away end. That's probably another suitable way for them to try and pick up that Premier League trophy. Arsenal, the team that keep on disappointing. Whenever you think it could be their turn to win the title, it just doesn't happen. So how can it happen this time? They've signed Gyökeres, so can he score the goals that Haaland and Salah have done with Havertz and co chipping in? That would be a great start. They will need Saka to be injury free, with Odegaard threading passes through, like maybe a prime Ozil again. So, they've performed better recently against the likes of Liverpool. So maybe them blasting out "You'll Never Walk Alone" on the training pitch has finally paid off. This form needs to continue whilst beating all the teams that they're expected to beat. Turning some of those home draws from last season against the likes of Brentford, Villa, Everton into wins if they're going to stand a chance of actually overthrowing Liverpool and Man City. Even Chelsea might even be a little bit more fierce this season, so they've got to be really on top of everything, haven't they? Manchester City. So they've had an off-season, still finishing third, and now they're rebuilding the squad. They've lost the likes of De Bruyne. Is Mamouche the person to take over the reins? He had a great start, didn't he, last season? Can Trafford recreate that same defensive solidity with City only conceding 16 goals this season, like Burnley? The Ballon d'Or winner, Rodri, needs to maintain his fitness, doesn't he, throughout the season, and the creativity oozes through the squad, whilst Trafford shows why City shouldn't have let him go in the first place. And perhaps Guardiola will conjure up some more tactical wizardry by putting Haaland at right back to confuse opponents once more. Burnley. Yes, Burnley. Scotty, the streets, Parker. Just can't see how he can turn a team who have lost the likes of Trafford and Brownhill, permanently signing players like Ante and Edwards, will take them from potentially 20th to 1st. But this is how they could do it. A new and proven manager at the top level, with tactical fluidity, with the ability to outsmart top tier teams. And maybe this recommendation is washed now, but you'd be looking at a Mourinho-esque type manager who has won the league before and a master of parking the bus, which Burnley are already adaptable to doing, and we've seen that a little bit last season, did it against Leeds, for example, and Sunderland at times. So lots of marquee signings needed, so maybe... And again, if you're enjoying this video, please drop a like and subscribe for more content. It really does help, especially being a new channel. Which then leads us on to Chelsea. Now, the club world champions will need to take their recent momentum, with Stamford Bridge being electric, hopefully for them with some more variety in their chants other than just Chelsea, 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 Chelsea for 90 minutes. I mean, even some American chanting like, come on Chelsea, fight and win. Even though it might be cheesy, just something a bit different. Just mix it up a bit, please, Chelsea fans. Also, could them being the club world champions impact their early season form due to lack of preparation, along with fatigue as the season goes on? This is something that's going to need to be bolstered with their squad depth, isn't it? So they've got to ensure it's there in full, with quality all across the starting 11. So it's going to be essential for them this season, along with maybe some more experienced players, as their transfer business so far largely consists of promising youngsters. Bournemouth. Iraola has provided some tactical masterclasses with back-to-back record points campaigns for Bournemouth, with his high-pressing, dynamic style, the likes of Semenyo scaring defenders. I mean, however, though, at times they have lost some players, and defensively they've had some hiccups in some games, but defensively they've been okay, but they need to improve there a little bit. But now they need some genius signings, don't they, to finally help them keep more clean sheets and revitalise the squad that they've lost in the current transfer window. So more quality signings, definitely. Areola remaining tactically astute, but hopefully with more goals conceded, less goals conceded even, scrap that blooper, which was a problem for them last season at times. So just tighten up that defence might just help them push on to be the champions of England. Aston Villa. Villa are probably waiting for more inflated transfer fees from Chelsea. However, though, they have been caught, haven't they? And they're not allowed to do it again. So what do they do now? Pray for the Saudis to offer 60 million for Matty Cash, 80 million for Ollie Watkins. What they need is to plug in the gaps with defensive fragilities, as seen when faltering in big moments, which means that extra bit between their teeth will be needed. Obviously, the biggest problem they've got is with the PSR, by the looks of it. All rumours, but they haven't made many signings, so if they can get that resolved somehow and invest and have more cash flow coming through and able to get those players in, that's how that they could step it up and win that Premier League. Also, they might need to drop out of Europe as well early on. Everton. The new stadium will need to have the opposite effect, won't it, that it's had on other teams such as Arsenal, Spurs in recent history, and become an instant fortress. Evertonians may call it the Bramley-Moore Stadium, but we all know its true name is the Hill Dickinson Stadium. Perhaps the mockery will push them, and the atmosphere will be more electric than ever, with the Ric Flair woo pushing the likes of Dewsbury Hall and Jack Grealish to the levels once expected of them. David Moyes, who lives and breathes Everton, could be the passionate manager to push them to a level not expected to be achieved and lift that Premier League crown. Fulham. What can be said about Fulham? They need to actually start doing some transfer business. Not more needs to be said on Fulham, really, as they're heading for a bottom half finish unless they splash upwards of 150 million players, whilst keeping the current infrastructure of the club and taking advantage of the clubs playing in European competitions. That's what's needed. I mean, Marco Silva has done a fantastic... Well, yeah, he has done a fantastic job, hasn't he, with the squad that he's had. So, more signings, push on, take advantage. Bosh, there you go. That's how they can do it. Nottingham Forest. Well, when you've got an owner with so much passion, like Mr. Marianakis, you can bet your bottom dollar he will take any team above them down by filing a series of complaints. So, any team above Forest stand no chance and will not get in the way of Mr. Marianakis. So if you're Liverpool, Arsenal, City, Chelsea and co, then you better watch your back. But on the other hand, they could do it by building on the recent momentum, getting Gibbs White to put pen to paper again whilst increasing quality at both ends of the pitch, where Chris Wood did outperform his XG last season. That will need to continue. Maybe a different type of striker could be good, and he's yet to be seen their new winger out on the right to replace Alanga, whether he has got the same quality or not. Hopefully they do, because his creativity was definitely key last season. It will be needed again if they're going to push on to be champions of England once more. Spurs. Bring back Big Ange. He said and he delivered a trophy in his second season. There's no doubt that he could come back, do the opposite with Spurs, maybe with them crumbling the Champions League, and yet go on to do the almost impossible by winning the Premier League. Thomas Frank at the helm means splashing the cash is probably their only hope, by bringing the right bodies in who can not only step up and compete with the likes of Liverpool, Arsenal, City, Chelsea, but can provide as much in attack too, which hasn't looked so promising in pre-season. So for Spurs' sake, let's hope it was just a pre-season hiccup, getting all the bad out of the way before the start of the season, then get them to push on and maybe win the Premier League. Who knows? West Ham. Potter couldn't really do it with billions at Chelsea, so what chance he got to do it at West Ham? I mean, what West Ham need to do to win the league is playing to what their strengths used to be. Powerful, physical players that can find balance between flair and being solid at the back. I mean, maybe look to somehow bring the fans closer to the pitch, to bring back a more intimidating atmosphere like the Upton Park days, and maybe with intimidating bubbles and figures like Elijah Wood staring down the opposition during throw-ins. I mean, a man for the job could be De Zerbi, as he has that experience and is used to having a squad where it's not quite elite level. And I mean, he has that desire, and it's already proven it, hasn't he, as well, like I've said. So, yeah, if you're going to swap a manager, De Zerbi might be that person, but bring those powerful physical bodies in and keep that flair. I mean, Bowen needs to keep doing what he's doing too. And then you need a replacement too for the likes of Antonio and, Callum Wilson. You need to upgrade on those massively, don't you? Get a top striker that can do it. Can Fulkrug do it? Remains to be seen, doesn't it? Brentford. A set-piece coach. May as well start preparing for the Championship now, eh? But on the other hand, he could prove us all wrong. Sign some tall world beaters, the equivalent of having a team full of Harry Maguires, scoring a set-piece goal every 30 minutes and never conceding one. Lack of knowledge on how Keith Andrews may set up Brentford could perhaps work in their favour, especially if it turns out to be the next Pep Guardiola. Wolves. So they've lost Cunha, haven't they? Which is massive. So they need to reinvest. Did sign John Larson again, which is massive for them after how he performed last season. I mean, Pereira at the helm did wonders as their manager. So, yeah, he's going to have to take a similar approach next season, isn't he, as well, by the looks of it. But, you never know. That true underdog mentality, maybe the squad watching Rocky every morning with burning heart from Rocky 4 blurting out, because it will literally be a mountainous task for Wolves to win the league. A hidden gem from a league nobody watches, with the dribble of Messi, shooting boots of prime Ronaldo and the mentality of Zlatan, along with some good VAR decisions, may be required to help Wolves try and reach that title. Man United. Jim Ratcliffe. He needs to re-employ the kitchen staff, and fast. I mean, Man United's worst season in the Premier League occurred after 250 people were sacked last year. Coincidence? I think not. This clearly shows how much of a knock-on effect this had on the players. Without them, it's easy to say there'll be no Prem title, with an over-reliance on a 3-4-3, which didn't work at all last season. Will more quality additions to the squad and a full pre-season be enough to get the message across? Can Mbeumo, Sesko and Cunha be the trio of dreams up top and score their way to the title, whilst Luke Shaw is sidelined through injury, eating too many takeaways? I mean, I guess we'll soon see, won't we? And it's going to be a fun year, both at the top end and the bottom end of the Premier League. But yeah, let me know your thoughts down below, and let me know if any of these are a possibility and what you think it will take for some of these teams to win the Premier League. And again, if you haven't already, please drop a video a like and subscribe, as it really does help. And I'll look forward to seeing you all in the next one. Bye for now.